Hey, what's going on, everybody? First and foremost, I want to say, let me get this out of the way. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure that you like this video. Make sure that you comment on this video. Talk to me nice. And make sure you share this video. All right, without further ado, I want to get into a few things. All right. So I want to talk about, I want to start out talking about child support. And I want to talk about why child support it's illegal and it's wrong. And it should not be something that any of us have on us as men or women, because there are some women that go through child support as well. And the reason why I don't believe in child support is because child support doesn't give you access to your rights like you think it will. Some of you may think, okay, well, if they're taking child support out on me, then I'm gonna have access to my child, this, that, and the other, so on and so forth. And I'm gonna just tell you that's not the case. Just because it's put down on paper doesn't mean that they're going to enforce it. Okay, and I'm telling you from my experience that that's not going to work out for you. All right, but I'm not saying that child support shouldn't be in effect because I had child support out on me. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying about child support is child support has been used as a crutch for so many different things. Well, think about it. Like, you lay down with a woman and you get her pregnant. The moment that she tells you that you're pregnant, as a man, you have zero control, yet you have 100% responsibility. Now, I'm all for responsibility, um, but when we start talking about having children, or whatever the case may be, if a man can't say whether he wants to be a part of that child's life or not, then uh, why is a man forced to take care of a child that he doesn't want to take care of? Now, I'm not siding with the men that don't want to take care of their children, but what I am saying is, where's the homework being done before we sleep with someone? Okay? What kind of a person is this person like? What kind of relationships did they have? Uh, we live in an information age now where we can make a determination about a person's character because we have so much information. We're inundated with information about a person if we did our due diligence. So we live in a world now where if we don't know something, it's because we don't want to know, because the information is out there for us to know. And even before the information was out there for us to know, we could have done some digging and some research and asked questions, and we could have gotten to know families, and we could have gotten to know friends and coworkers and things like that. We could have, at least from a standpoint of finding out more about this person, if we felt like this person is somebody that we wanted to invest in. Now, some of us, we're not just having intercourse because we want relationships with people. Some of us are just having intercourse because it's an activity that we find fun to do and it brings us great pleasure, men and women, right? If that is the case, I still think that there should at least talks about uh, at least talks about it. Now, sometimes people will mislead you or whatever the case may be, but again, there should be some semblance of asking questions, but most importantly, there should be some semblance of observation. How does this person deal with others? How does this person deal with others? And I want you to think of, if you're just looking to just go out there and just have casual intercourse, I want you to start thinking about casual intercourse, which I'm not a proponent of for a number of reasons. But if you are thinking about casual intercourse, I want you to start thinking about when you are looking for a job. Okay, when you're looking for a job, you're not going to one place to look for a job, right? You're going to a lot of different places and looking for a job. Matter of fact, before you get a job, your full-time job is to look for a job. I remember when I remember when um, me and my wife first got married, and we were I was going through this time period where, my business really wasn't doing anything. It was just getting started. I was struggling, this, that, and the other. and I needed to go out there and I needed to get a job. And when I went out there to get a job, I remember putting in applications to a lot of places. And I'm talking about a lot. What I did is strategically looked at how much money I needed to be making for my household at that time. And then I didn't look at jobs that paid below that. Then I wanted to look at what type of hours there were going to be, what was going to be required of me. And so that helped me hone in to where I should be putting applications in. Some people just put in applications and say, hey, man, I'm just trying to get me a job. But it makes no sense trying to get a job if the job that you're going to get is not going to pay you what you need to have paid. And then sometimes you have to go out there, if you don't have the skills to get the job that you need to get, then you need to go out there and you need to go back to school, or you need to go to, in particular, you need to learn a trade or get some type of license or some type of certification to do certain things, because that puts you in a more exclusive company, and it demands more pay. Let's just say, for an example, if you needed to become like being a plumber, heating and air conditioning, CDL driver, those positions pay a livable wage in comparison to a job position that doesn't pay a livable wage, because the more replaceable you are, the less you're going to get paid. So now, when we start talking about why why I don't think child support should be a thing. Child support does a number of things, and I'm gonna touch on a couple of them. But child support in particular, it 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 doesn't encourage communication between the mother and the father. So a mother can get hit up, a woman can get hit up by a man and get pregnant, and if she does not want to have a relationship, especially in the Black community, if she does not want to have a relationship with that man in any capacity, then she can ultimately choose how the relationship's going to play out between that child, the children, and the father. Okay, I'm going to say that again. She can make a determination if she wants that father to be in that child's or the children's life based on how she feels about that man. Perhaps she liked the guy. Perhaps she saw a future with the guy. Perhaps when she got pregnant with the guy, by the guy, that everything was working out well. And then all of a sudden, they started having some stark differences, and he stood his ground, and she didn't like the things that he stood for or stood on. And she says to herself, well, you know what? If he doesn't play ball my way, then we're not going to play ball at all. And then it starts a 18-year spiral down of bad relationship. And you two could agree to lay down with each other, but you two can't agree that you both love the child. That you both love the child. And see, I hear so many things about, oh, well, it takes two to tango. And, you helped me create this baby and this, that, and the other, whatever the case may be. Facts. Those are simple facts. But ladies, take some accountability in the fact that you control, at least up until this point, right? Well, you had more options up to this point. We know we got Roe versus Wade, and the decision about that and the intricacies thereof. But ladies, I'm going to just tell you straight up the truth. From the time that you get ready to lay down with a man, you have total control of the entire thing. For instance, there have been men and women that have gotten together, had their intercourse, and then after they've had their intercourse, there is a pregnancy involved, and the man is excited about having a child, excited about moving forward. Always wanted a son, always wanted a daughter, always wanted a child. And now they have the opportunity, albeit it wasn't through marriage, but that man has this opportunity to have this child. And you have a woman that sits there and says, but I'm not ready to have a child. So what do you think happens in that situation? That man has no choice. He has no say over the matter. Even if he sits there and he begs her, please, 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 I'll take care of the child. If she says no, it's a no go. She can go down there and get an abortion, okay? Or if she's on it early enough and she knows, oh, we had unprotected intercourse, and I know that we were acting reckless. So I'm gonna go down to the store and I'm gonna get me a plan B. And she doesn't conference with him and say, hey, listen, we had some reckless we had some reckless intercourse last night. Um, and it could lead me pregnant, and I'm thinking about going to get me a plan B. What are your thoughts on that? That's not how the conversation goes. And if it does go that way, and he says, well, I don't want to have any child right now. And then she can say, okay, I'll go get the plan B. See, that's communication. But that's not what's happening. She's making the decision about what she wants to do about conception from the time that intercourse is over. So the decision is, so a man can't be accountable in that situation unless he ultimately just decides, hey, listen, I don't want to have intercourse. Okay. But what I am saying is a man can't control if that child comes into the world or not. And would it be better if a man could control if that child could come in the world or not? Well, certainly. Certainly for a man's standpoint, it would. But I'm just letting you know that a woman controls whether she has a child or she doesn't have a child. If a woman doesn't want to have a child, then she could say, hey, listen, I'm not going to have intercourse. Or she can say, if I have intercourse with you, then we're going to use contraceptives. Okay? She can make sure that she's on some form of birth control for enough time for it to be in her system. Now, I personally don't have care for birth control because of the long-term effects that it can have. But certainly a woman has the right, if she wants to be on birth control, to say, I want to be on birth control. That's her right. If a woman says, okay, I don't want to be on birth control, so I'm going to use other measures like condoms. So if he says, well, I don't like condoms, and she says, well, we can't do anything without a condom because I don't want to get pregnant. Or if she makes the decision that she doesn't want to use a condom, or whatever the case may be, if she decides she doesn't want to use a condom and if she doesn't want to use some form of birth control, then she can always say, okay, but I'm just telling you, I'm not having a child. So I don't know if you want a child or not, but I'm not having a child. So if we're going to do something or whatever the case may be, then I'm going to get me a plan B. Now that has its cons as well. But what I am saying is a woman has she has total authority from the time she receives the seed. Total authority. And it is not right when a man tries to overstep those bounds. Just like we're having the problem right now with Roe v. versus Wade, because a woman wants to have her choice, and she doesn't like politics playing into her choice to bring life into the world or not. So we can't play it. We can't play seesaw with the situation. We can't play seesaw with the situation. We have to be across the board. All right. Now, a couple of things that happens with child support is this. Like I said before, and I'm living proof of this, okay? Child support does not guarantee any rights. Now, I'm going to tell you what happened with me. So when I went to court, and I went to court, first of all, I established child support on myself, thinking because I would establish child support on myself, that I would have the rights to my child and access to my child. Wrong. One doesn't have to do with one doesn't have to do with the other. Your parental visitations, the custody thereof has nothing to do with child support. And child support does not care about that. The magistrate, which is pretty much a lawyer in a glorified position to be able to administer and preside over a child support case, The magistrate gets a commission, a residual commission on child support. So when money is involved, morals is compromised. So depending on the magistrate, she has or he has a ton of cases. Okay. And they're making money off of those cases in most states, if not all states. Go check that information out for yourself. When that happens, they really don't care about the woman, the man, or the children involved in the case. They just want to get their money. They just want child support established. And every time child support is paid, before it's sent to the custodial parent, that child, that magistrate in the court, they get their money from it first. So if I send $100 to my child's mother for child support, my child's mother is not going to get $100. There are going to be fees extracted. So now I just want you to just pretend for a second, just for simple numbers. Let's say for every $100 that the courts take out $10. Okay. So my child's mother gets $90. Okay. That's not how it works. I'm just using this simple math. Okay. Now, if that court gets $10, you're like, well, what's the big deal? It's just $10. But how many $10 payments from per 100 are they getting from how many child support payments are in and on the books? They take cases every day, new child support cases that they're establishing every day. And so just imagine if you were getting paid $10 on 10,000 people, $10 on 20,000 people, $10 on 40,000 people, 50,000, whatever the number is. Imagine that $10 being multiplied by tens of thousands of dollars. Now that $10 doesn't look so small, right? Now it doesn't look so small. Now what happens if now you're getting paid on that. Now what happens if you're getting paid on that and then you notice you get like an alarm, you get a red flag that somebody didn't pay their child support for a certain period of time? Having the ability to shut down their licenses, having the ability to shut down their passports, having the ability to garnish their wages, having the ability to be able to lock someone up. You literally would not care about the well-being of a person as long as the money is coming into your pocket. As a magistrate, this is the way the systems work on everything. If you have a bank account where you have a monthly fee, they want you to stay banking with them because they're going to take money from you and loan it out, plus they're going to charge you a fee on top of that. Same thing with the electric company. The electric company will charge, nobody knows the matrix of how they come up with your bill per month. It's complicated to you and I on an everyday people, right? So they have a system where they are saying, hey, listen, you owe us this, you owe us that. And you could go out of town for a full month and have everything in your house turned off except the alarm clocks, and you would still get a bill every month, and you're not quite sure what the matrix are for them coming to the conclusion of what you owe. So the same thing when you have you ever read a docket? Have you ever read have you ever been summoned? Have you ever seen some of the words that they use? Not everyday words that you would use in the English language, if you will, or whatever language you're in. Not the everyday words that is being said to you. These are things that they put in there, and it is confusing. And when it's so confusing, it allows them to be able to get you to sign something that make you acquiesce rights that you had, rights over to them that they take away from you. So sometimes you're in a situation, and I don't want to go into into things too specifically, but what I want to say is there are sometimes when you sign something, they don't have a right to do certain things, but when you sign it, you give up those rights, and then it allows them to do what they want to do. Case in point, when I went, okay, so with my child, Okay. When I went to court, one of the laws in the state of Ohio is that you have to establish paternity. Now, I don't know if they changed it, but at the time, paternity has to be established. So that means before they can take out child support, they have to establish that you are the biological father. Okay. Now, in my case, I wasn't married to the girl. So when I wasn't married to the girl when we had our child. So that did not me being my name on the social security, me signing my name on the birth certificate did not establish that I was the father. What had to establish that is we had to take a paternity test. So in that situation, in that particular situation, they're supposed to give you a paternity test. But there are people that are in position that can slick talk you. And if you're not mindful of what's going on, you can lose access to those things. So in my particular case, when we were going to court, they needed to establish paternity. The guardian ad litem came to me and gave me this story about, listen, mom is really struggling right now. And you know that's your child. And you don't want your child to struggle. We need to get child support established for this child. And I said, yeah, of course, because I'm thinking about my child. Yes, of course. So they said, we don't have to do a paternity test. Do you want to, if we do a paternity test, it's going to take longer for your child to get support. And so I said, no, my child needs support. My child needs support. So I actually signed something that allowed, stupid as it was, I signed something that said that I agreed to forego the paternity test and that I established myself as a father. Now, once I signed that, me needing to take a birth control, not birth control, me needing to take a paternity test was out of the window. Even if I wanted to later, it's out of the window. It can't happen. The only way that I could take that paternity test is if I administered one myself with a kit or something. I would have had to literally had my child in my hand, and I would have literally had to swab my child, and I would have to send off for those results. And even if I sent off for those results and it came back that that child was not my child, then it wouldn't have mattered. I would have still had to pay child support because I agreed legally that I was her father. Now, I didn't doubt that I was her father, but I'm just telling you the processes that took my right away. So when there was so what should have happened is, hey, because you really got to think about it. I hadn't seen my child for years. I didn't know where my child was for years. Mom, no phone number, no address, no access to the child for years. And I'm talking about years, donkey years, okay? If you know what that means. So when I didn't have access to my child, all those years that my child, it was just her and mama and whomever else. And so when I found my child, I went to go and take out child support on myself. The thing that I should have done was to correctly establish paternity, because heaven forbid if that child wasn't my child, we find out, and then that brings closure. Because when you have child support taken out on you, some of the things that you cannot do, you cannot get behind on a child support payment. You cannot. And I remember when I got behind in my child support payment at once upon a time when I got behind on my child support payment, it was when I got sick. When I got sick and I didn't know what was wrong with me, and it messed me up for about 6 months. I could not work for 6 months because there was something seriously from a health standpoint wrong with me. Do you think that I got clearance or forgiveness? No. Those child support payments just backed up. It just stacked up, it stacked up, it stacked up. And once you get behind in child support, I don't care what kind of terms that they use, but it is not as simple as, oh, I missed 3 months. Let me pay 3 months back and I'm back on track. No, it doesn't work like that. They tack on, they don't, I say, hey, look, y'all tacking on interest. No, we don't tack on interest. Well, whatever it is that they do, it makes your child support payment balloon. And getting behind the eight ball, it's never a good look. So now with the Roe v versus I keep getting my lips in the way. The Roe versus Wade. Thank you. Whew, we get there. With the Roe versus Wade, the issue with the Roe versus Wade overturning now is women cannot get abortions. Okay. So fellas, when you go out there and you lay down with a woman, you literally, now the decision is out of her hands. The decision is out of her hands. And I know you're not, before you're laying down with a woman, I know you're not sitting there and saying, okay, when was the last time you ovulated? When was the last time you period? You're not doing that. You're not doing that. Because if that was the case, then there will be more planned pregnancies than there were unplanned pregnancies. And there's a lot of unplanned pregnancies. So at any rate, you have to be very, very careful now who you lay down with. You should have always been careful of that. But now you got to be super duper careful. And in my opinion, the Roe versus Wade, it takes even more accountability away from a woman. Because now a woman is saying, hey, look, I would go and get an abortion. But I can't now because it's against the law. And no woman is going to sit there and say, after you lay with her, most women ain't going to sit there and say, okay, you just shot up the club. I need some money for plan B. And no woman is going to let you monitor her while she goes, gets the plan B, and then turns around and then takes the plan B in front of your face. So, I mean, that's weird. That's awkward. All right. But if there was no such thing, here's why I think no child support would make things better. Some of you probably say, well, you know what? If it's not for child support, he wouldn't take care of his child. Why would you lay down with a man that is not responsible? Like, why wouldn't you find out if this person is a responsible person before you commit the intercourse? Even if you're using contraceptives and even if you're using all kinds of preventatives to avoid pregnancies, why would you lay down with a man or a woman that you don't know and risk it for some pleasure? Because I'm going to be honest, you'd be better off, ladies and gentlemen, taking care of yourself before you lay down with somebody else, because you don't have to worry about any infections and you don't have to worry about any unwanted pregnancies. Problem solved. But if you let intercourse control your life, you will not be able to make good sound decisions anyway. You won't be able to make good sound decisions anyway if intercourse controls your life. And some of you out there, some of you got a lot of kids, can't see a lot of your kids, or you don't have the daddies in the life of a lot of your kids. And it comes back to self-accountability and the decision. But if there was no such thing as child support, okay, and a woman had a child by a man and she needed support from a man, okay, first of all, he should be in a position to anticipate what's needed. But because sometimes a man is not allowed to be around her, or a man has difficulties being around her, a man will say, I'm not dealing with the headache and the drama, so I'm going to stay put. And we know that taking care of a child is more than just sending money. Because there are some men that make good money that will send support from a monetary standpoint, but they won't be there from a time standpoint. That's not taking care of the child. And on the flip side, taking care of the child from a time standpoint, but not providing things from a monetary standpoint, albeit time is better than money, time is not all that it takes to take care of a child. But kudos to the men that even if they don't have money, and kudos to the women that won't get in the way of a man seeing his child, kudos to those two for giving the time to the children that they need. Because the children don't care about the money. They don't care about the money. The children just, they have and they have not. And if they have not, they somehow just roll with it. I'm not saying that that's the greatest situation, but what I'm saying is children don't care about the money. It's the parents that fight over the money. So ladies, when you sitting down and when you allow yourself to lay down with a man, ask yourself this question right here. How well do you take care of yourself? Does mama and daddy still take care of you? Do you get guys to do things for you? You know, you go out there, and I'm not talking about you go out there and you make enough money to be able to take care of the basics, and then this extracurricular stuff that you have, it's because you're finessing men out there. See, the world may not know that you're finessing men, or you may think the world don't know you finessing men, but anybody close enough to you know that you don't make enough money to be able to live the life that you want to live. So you've got enough money to be able to, okay, so you're on, let's just say you have children, you're on Section 8, and you are, and yet and still, you still find time to get dressed, get your hair done, get your nails done, get the fake eyelashes and all of the other makeup and stuff like that. And then you find time to go out there and you get to eat. You get to have steak with your lobster. You get to travel. You get to do this. You get to do that. Are you doing that on your dime, or are you using your body or your looks to trick off to get access to those things? Because a man will pay, a simplified man will pay to have access to the juice box. And he will take you and do things for you just so he can have access to it. It's stupid. It makes no sense. When women in the past in my life told me, hey, you know, you got to do this for me, you got to do that for me, I'm like, child, please, I ain't doing nothing for you. This is an even exchange. And granted, they might say, well, you know, you ain't getting nothing from me. I ain't getting nothing from you. Because you know why? I'll find somebody that wants to give it to me without me having to pay for it. Because really and truthfully, at the end of the day, if I got to pay for the box, no whether I'm paying it directly or indirectly, that's prostitution. And we found ways to make prostitution legal. And we blend it. We go, oh, well, you know, I ain't just going to sleep with a man for free. When you start using money and start talking about intercourse, money, intercourse, that is prostitution. And we need to call people out on that. We need to call people out on that. All right. So are you taking care of yourself? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you able to yourself provide yourself the lifestyle that is indicative of what you want by yourself? Because here is the reality. The reality is there are no guarantees that when you lay up with a guy and get pregnant, that he is going to participate the way you think he should participate. And a lot of times he may want to participate, but if you guys are not getting along, if you are presenting yourself to be a headache to that man or whatever the case may be, right or wrong, he says, I don't want any parts of that. Because see, I'm going to speak for us when I say this. Being a black man and being a black man in America is a very tough thing to do. And because it's a very tough thing to do, we don't want to be in a situation where we are involved with something that makes things more tough. And I think sometimes women will come into your life, not all women, but women will come into your life and feel like they are the ones put in your life to test your man. And the reality is a man, I don't care on any level, a man doesn't want to bring someone into his life and make things more complicated. A woman is supposed to come into a man's life and make things easier. Now, he's supposed to make things easier for her too. But nonetheless, a woman needs to be able to make life easier on a man. And if she's not in a position to make life easier on a man, she doesn't need to be with a man. If when it came to me and child support, once child support was established, I was obsolete. I was obsolete. I knew I would be obsolete. I sat in the courtroom and I told the magistrate, I said, listen, I want protection from when this case is over, that things don't go back to the way they were. What's that, sir? Not being able to call my child, not being able to talk to my child, not being able to see my child. What kind of provisions can y'all put in place to ensure that that doesn't happen? The answer is the courts don't do that. The courts don't put provisions in place to do that, especially if you're long distance. And if you are in the same area, it will cost you both a lot of money to attempt to enforce anything. Okay? See, the court systems are designed to make money. People say the court systems are broken. No, they're not. They are fixed to do exactly what they are fixed to do. And I'm telling you, fellas, ladies, the courts don't care nothing about either one of you. So once child support was being administered, my child's mother did not have to call me. She did not have to ask me. She did not have to seek wisdom from me. She did not have to call me about decisions in regards to my child. She didn't have to do any of those things. None of them. Now, does that mean that if child support wasn't there, that she will guarantee to do right by me and include me in decision processes? No. But if she wanted help from me, think about this. When somebody wants to borrow or get money from you, right? Let's just say I wanted to come to you and I wanted some money. Hey, I need some money. Your answer would probably be, okay, if you really, really love me. But after a few times, you're going to have questions. You're going to say, well, what's wrong? Why do you need money again? Do you know why? Because you want to know that the money that you are giving them is actually helping them and not supporting a bad habit, or that they're making, or they find themselves in those presumptuous situations because of bad choices. You don't want to give people money that make bad choices. So you'll see that sometimes, you'll give money to, a man will give money to the mother of his child. And the mother of his child, he wants her to use the money specifically on the child, but she may not use the money specifically on the child. She may use the money for herself and turn around and say, well, I take care of her. And she does have a point, but then it's not a full point. Because if my child is still in need and I'm sending you money, well, then why am I sending money and my child's not reaping any benefits of that? Now, shout out to some mothers. Some mothers, they will take the money and they will exclusively use it for something that pertains to a child. That's the way that it's supposed to be. But there's nothing that enforces the direction of the funds. The only thing that the courts want is they want their percentage of what the child support is. And mama can do whatever she wants with the money. But, you're sending all kinds of money to mom, and she's supposed to be getting your son or your daughter toys or clothes, pay for programs that need to be done from school and activities and things of that nature. And next thing you know, your child is still in need, and mama's walking around and she's got the best weave, she's got the best makeup, and she's got the best clothes. So your children are running around looking raggedy. But mama is sitting there and she is dressed to impress. Now, mama does it in a lot of sense. Mama doesn't make a lot of money. Okay, I'm not talking about all women, but mama's on every kind of government assistance. Mama has limited income, but she doesn't look like she has limited income because because the allocation thereof of money is going towards her dreams, her hopes, her desires. And if there was no child support and you were sending money over there and you were witnessing these types of things, you could say, hey, listen, you're going to have to get it together, Susie. You're going to have to get it together, Susie. I'm not going to be sending money over there and you are walking around in designer because I know you're not working or I know you're not making a lot of money. And you notice there are women who, when they make a lot of money, some of them are spiteful, but the women that are established and make a lot of money and take care of their children or whatever the case may, they don't really press at a dude about not taking care of his kid financially. They're just like, hey, look, that's your child. If you don't want to take care of your child, I'm going to take care of my child. But my child's going to get taken care of. And that's the way that it should be. But with this child support, it's just like Section 8, EBT, government assistance, or whatever the case may be. It's designed to move the man out of the house and make the government the baby daddy. And women, a lot of women are opting for that because they know that the check's going to be there the first of the month or whatever it comes. And child support is, and actually, from a technical standpoint, child support is illegal. It shouldn't even be the case. But like I said, something can, and this goes on any level. Something can be illegal, but if you sign something, you acquiesce and you make laws that didn't apply to you, that were illegal, that violated you, you make them applicable to you. And then when you go fight to complain, it's just like, hey, you signed it. And how many of us, literally, when we get a contract, sit there and just read it? No, because a lot of times contracts are given to you in a setting where you don't have a lot of time. But what's wrong with saying, may I have some time to look over this? Or may I have some time for my lawyer to look over this? Or may I have some time for my representation to look over, my representatives to look over this contract? Oftentimes, they say no. And you find yourself in a corner, you be like, but I need what I am trying to sign for, so I'm going to sign it anyway. Or you lean over, trying to look studious, and you're looking at the words. Now it's 5,000 words in front of you. And then you just sit there and you gloss over it like you are doing your due diligence before you sign something. You ain't doing nothing but making yourself look stupid even. You need to read what you're signing and understand and have an opportunity to think about what you're signing. When you have child support, you can't do certain things, and you have to do certain things. You have to do certain things. And when you get in a hole in child support, they don't expect you to come out of the hole. And there are a lot of people who, long after their children come off child support, are still paying child support to catch up on back payments. And they're made to look like animals when they get behind on their child support. But the only way to stay on top of your child support for a lot of people is you've got to be working a job at a consistent job consistently throughout that child's life and having them take that money out. But when you run a business like me and something happens to you and you can't work, well, when you run a business, you're not making any sales, you're not doing those types of things, you're not making any money. And then that's an easy way to fall behind on child support. And how hard is it to run a business? When you're running a business, how hard is it to consistently have and make what you need to make? Well, it's possible, But it's a lot of people that are not doing it. It's a lot of people not able to do that. Now, if child support was not a thing, folks would have to talk. Folks would be forced to communicate. Or a woman, when she meets a man and she knows that he is financially unstable, she may say, whoa, I can't just sleep with him. Now, there are a lot of women out here today that won't sleep with a man unless he's got dollar symbols. So we get that. We understand that there's just certain women, and historically, women will gravitate more to men that can provide them the lifestyle that they need or want. So we understand that. And what we don't understand as men is if we just focused and concentrate on making sure that we could produce, provide, and protect, if we focused on that, we would have access to any kind of woman we want, and we wouldn't have to tolerate some of these women that are not tolerable. Because there are some good looking women out there, and as soon as they open their mouth, the ugly comes out. You know, and I think sometimes with a lot of women that look very beautiful, they know they don't have to have class. They know they don't have to have a good attitude. They know they don't have to be a good person because their looks garner them the things that they usually want. And so they're thinking to themselves, why do I have to put the extra effort in being a good person, a person of quality, a person with morals, a person of integrity, when I can just go ahead and I can just I could beat up my face and I could put on this hair and then I can just shimmy my hips and guys are going to give me what I want anyway. Think about that, fellas. If you go out there and you make $1,500 a week during your job and you work really, really hard, and then someone came along and they said, hey, listen, for the next 20 years, I'm going to give you $1,500 a week and you don't have to work, but you have to quit your job that you make $1,500 a week for. I mean, if you're presented with that opportunity, which one are you going to take? Well, you're going to take the free money. You know why? Because there are things that you want to do with your free time. So a lot of women, for a lot of women, women don't have to work to get what they want. All a woman has to do is look good. And I mean, listen, I can accept that. Listen, I don't get freebies because of the way I look. First of all, men don't have to look good to get what they want. Men just have to be established at a certain level to get what they want. And men don't want a lot. All really men want is access to what's in between a woman. That's what men generally want. They don't want the extra stuff, right? They don't want the extra stuff. No, I'm not saying that's all that men want, but you'd be hard pressed to find a man that would say, I want other things except that. That's the one thing, the box, the thing in between, the thing in the middle. I don't want that. I don't care for that. No man in his right mind is going to say that, because a man wants peace. Now, I don't have to tell you about the fact when a man releases that there is dopamines and serotonin and it's another chemical that is released inside of a man that relaxes him. So intercourse is a way for a man to find himself in a peaceful state. And that's what men want more than anything. Now, there are other things that can bring a man peace. Environment, okay, clean house, good food, like those things can bring him peace. But what is going to make and give a man peace on the inside, and ladies, sometimes they don't understand this, what's going to help him be at peace is for him to have regular release. So one of the things that I like about the new Roe v. Wade, I finally got that right because I think I said Roe B at first. Lord have mercy. But I saw it in my head. But one of the things I like about Roe v. Wade, I don't like the fact that it takes a woman's rights away. I don't like that because I think that women should have her rights. But what I do like about Roe v. Wade is a woman's going to have to think. A woman's going to have to take accountability now. Unless she wants to deal with a man for the next 18 years that she doesn't want to deal with. Now, it's going to put even more pressure on men because men, if you lay down with a woman and she has a child with you that you don't want her to have, well, it's not even optional for her to go and get an abortion. Now, I have my bad feelings about abortion too. I have my bad feelings about abortion. I've been on all ends of it at some point in my life. I have bad, but in myself current day, I have bad vibrations about abortion. But I will say that what if a man could say to a woman that he got pregnant? What if a man could say, I do not want to be held financially. What if he had the right to opt out of being financially responsible for that child? Would that make women think about having a child with that man, or men in general? Yes, it would. Because just like I said earlier, a woman, if a man and a woman intercourse and then pregnancy ensues, a man doesn't have a say about whether she's going to have that child or not, then it should be a man should have a say about whether he's going to be financially involved with that child. Conversation goes just like this. Hey, Benny, what's up? I'm pregnant. You are? Yes, I'm pregnant. Well, I'm not ready to have a child. Well, I don't care if you're not ready to have a child. I'm going to have this child. And he comes back and he says, well, as I told you, I'm not ready to have a child. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to sign this waiver that says that I'm not going to be held financially responsible for this child. Hey, you can't do that. You can't do that. Well, I just told you I didn't want to have a child right now. And you could have done something about it. So do you see how messed up it is on both sides? Just that conversation right there. Don't you see how nobody wins in that situation right there? Don't you see how that child is going to suffer because of that? So why would you bring a child into a situation that's bad for the child? You should want to bring a child into the world that's going to have mommy and daddy right there. And why is it that a man and a woman can get along long enough to have intercourse, but they don't like each other afterwards? Like, how could you lay down with somebody? How could you agree so much to get in the same bed with each other and lay down and have intercourse and create a child, but now all of a sudden, everything he says is wrong and everything you say is wrong or right, or one is right, one is wrong always? It's like the Democratic and the Republican Party. It seems that when one of them come up with an idea, the other one renounces the idea because it didn't come from them. It could be something that is quote unquote bipartisan, but then the one party doesn't like the fact that the other party came up with it. And so they nitpick it. So here is a policy that comes into Here's a policy that goes to the House. And then the House, the opposite representatives of the House, starts nitpicking at the bill and breaking down and taking away and adding things to the bill to make it something totally not like the bill. And then if it ain't enough that it happens like that on the House level, it goes to the Senate level. And then the Senate do the same thing. The Republicans over here nitpicking with this. The Democrats over here nitpicking with that. Birds of the same wing. And then they nitpick. And then the bill that was originally presented, that was bipartisan, that everybody knew needed to happen, looks nothing like the bill when it gets past the Senate. If it gets past the Senate, then it gets to the president's desk and he signs this bill. And it's nothing like it was supposed to be. So we get it in, and we go in there and we lay ourselves down with this other person. And it's tender love and care. Everybody's enjoying themselves. Everybody's having a wonderful time. Yeah. Everything's yeah. All of a sudden, the club is shot up. Conception happens, and then the child gets here, and now nobody can agree on anything. Nobody can agree on anything. Now, I'm not the originator of this idea. Find out who is. But I think for men to protect ourselves, we should make women sign a waiver of the terms and the conditions that we want before we lay down and have intercourse with them. Why? Because we're sick and tired of things turning into he say, she say. We don't want things to be he say, she say. We want proof. We want to put to rest all of the things that we need to put to rest so we can get to the results that we need to get to. And if a woman wants to, and if that means, fellas, a woman doesn't want to sleep with you, then she doesn't want to sleep with you. You save yourself the headache. Your job isn't to go out there and sleep with 20,000 women like you Wilt Chamberlain or something. Your job is to go out there and do what it is that you got to do to make an impact on this earth in a positive way. And if pleasures come along the way, however it comes along, but it should be amicable and it should be agreeable and it should be understood. And I'm telling you, if you put yourself in a situation, I couldn't imagine being out there feeling anyone right now. If I had to do it all over again, I would definitely make a woman sign something if she was going to lay down with me. Because I'm not going to sit in a situation where she gets upset with me in 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years, say I did something that I did not do, and then my reputation takes the hit, and then it affects my career, and that affects me, and it affects my family. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So, you want to lay down with me? Sign this. What is this? Well, this is to protect you and I. Well, I'm not going to do this to you. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I know. I know you're not going to do it. But you're going to sign this? Well, I'm not signing it. All right. Take care. Are you serious? Yes. Yes. And it's nothing against you. It's nothing against you, Susie. Nothing against you, Susie. It has everything to do with what's happened in the past and what happens presently. You want to sleep with me, right? Yes. Okay. I want to sleep with you too. So if I want to sleep with you and you want to sleep with me, then just read these terms and conditions and just tell me what in this contract is it that you do not like, and we can have a discussion. And I can see if I want to, well, I don't like the fact that if I get pregnant, you're not going to be financially responsible. Well, I'm not going to sleep with you. So you want to get pregnant? No, I'm not saying that. But if you don't want to get pregnant, then let us use the necessary things and put the necessary things in place for us to have, to avoid that from happening. Because you see, sometimes a woman or a man for that matter, might not want to tell you what their intentions are. They got bad intentions. You know, they saw you pull up in your car from afar, and they see you walking into the building, and you don't see them seeing you, and you don't know why they take such an interest in you, but they just saw what you got out of. And it's a money symbol. And they think, oh, well, he's got money. I'm going to go up to him and I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to walk past him. I'm going to make eye contact with him or whatever the case may be. You just don't know. Or the guy, he may look at you and he didn't even see your face. He looked at you from behind. Now he saw that you had a derriere that was immaculate. And he saw that you had a small waist. And he saw that your skin was glowing. And he saw that you had beautiful flowing hair coming down your back from behind. He didn't really care what you looked like. He just said to himself, he wanted to get with you. And then you turn around, and whether you look good in the face or not, he still wants to say the things that he needs to say and do the things he needs to do to get up in your drawers. Now, he will make you think that he's really interested in you. And a lot of you ladies, because you don't know this, a lot of you ladies, you think because because a guy is showing interest in you that he wants to build with you, or he wants to marry you, and so you'll go around and you'll tell your friends and anybody that'll listen, hey, look, I get guys who make money that's interested in me all the time. I get guys that are ballers. I get guys that are this. I get guys that are that. Not understanding that there's two types of women that men like. Okay? A man can be looking for something serious, but along the way, he can see something fun. He can see something fun. And, you know, when a woman has a BBL, okay, a Brazilian butt lift, or whatever the case may be, and she's walking around and she's parading and she's showing it, or whatever the case may be, those are sometimes the easiest women that to target, because we know what it is and we know what it's about. You know, are men looking for women to get married to that have Brazilian butt lifts? Well, I can't speak for every man, but I can speak for a lot of men. A lot of men, they from a woman that we're trying to build with, why would we want a woman who's going to go and pay for something that's going to make her get more attention? A man doesn't want his wife to get a lot of attention. He wants a wife that's not advertising. And a BBL is a big billboard of advertisement. And wives don't advertise. And then you wonder why you're so pretty. It's so beautiful. You got so much money that you're making from your fans only page and this, that, and the other. And I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. So I'm going to wrap there. But in closing, listen. Fellas, be very careful out here. Watch who you sleeping with. Watch who you sleeping with, man. And if you ain't gonna get a contract written, you better do your homework, boy. You better do your homework and make sure you know what she's like. You better ask around. You better check her friends. You better see who her friends are. See what her friends are into. Man, whatever her friends are into, man, you better assume that's what she into. Because why would she have friends why would I be a guy and all of my friends are into drugs and then I'm telling you that I'm clean and I'm straight? Why do I have so much company around me of people doing things that they should not do and try to sell myself on a person that does what they should do? I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but the odds are not in my favor, because birds of a feather flock together. And and the person that you're talking to is going to be the type of person that's going to sell you the best version of themselves. They know how to do that. They know what they like and they know what they don't like about themselves. They know what other people have given them grief about and what other people have propped them up about. And they try to pander towards the things that make them look as in the most marvelous light. They try to paint themselves as best as possible for to get the best results that they would like to get. But look at their friends. Hey man, you're on social media. Hey man, you're on you're on TikTok. Hey, you're on hey, what's your Facebook page? Hey, what's your whatever social media is popping at that moment? Hey, what's your Snapchat? You got Twitter? Hey, listen. Oh, cool. Let me see that. Okay, and then don't forget to do this. Google them, because some of them got a rap sheet that'll pop up right on front. I remember this. I remember this one girl years ago that wanted to come work for my company, and guess what? I just did a Google search on her. Mugshot popped up, and guess what? She was sweet as candy, sweet as could be. Couldn't even imagine that she would have a rap sheet. Oh, well, don't judge people, this, that, and the other, whatever the case may be. Listen, if you have a child and somebody is a sex offender, would you let them around your child because they told you that that was the past and they're a better person now? No, no. It's in you. And all you need to do is be triggered. So I'm sorry, but I can't do it. I can't allow you to be around my child. You're a sex offender. I'm going to the store. First of all, why are you my friend? Okay? I'm going to the store and you say, hey man, no worries, man. I'll just watch the kids. Okay. Like, what? How stupid am I? That's stupid. So you got to just understand, like, people, they have a past. And I'm sorry, ladies, what you do now will become your past. And if you don't want people to look at you that way, you can't do that. But if you think that you can do what you want to do and you can somehow sweep under the rug what you did in your past, and you can put on a beautiful face and just be like, but I look like a wife. Yeah, there's a lot of women that look like a wife. I remember I went to this bachelor party down in Florida at this well-known club, and the strippers, they look beautiful. I'm talking about beautiful. Like, if they put on, like, when they put on their clothes or whatever the case may be, and they put on a nice dress or whatever the case may be, they could fix their hair up real nice, their face, the contours of their face, all of that other stuff like that was so wonderful. And I mean, you could walk down the street and people would acknowledge that they look very beautiful. But why would I want to walk down the street with people that know that this person has a past? That's going to reflect bad on me. I'm sorry. And ladies, if you have a past, I'm not condemning you, but what I'm saying is, you know personally it's an uphill climb for you when you go out into the world and try to do things straight down the line. So I'm telling you, ladies, your past is going to bite you. And fellas, you gotta have a future. Because a woman don't want a man that don't have a future. And a man don't want a woman that's got a past. Well, we all have a past. Yes. But but can I deal with your past? Can I agree with your past? Because we do all have past. So stop acting like I'm saying that I want a woman who's 25 years old, who has like a deleted past, is deleted. Like it doesn't exist. Like she somehow, her consciousness transferred into her at the age of 25 and she has no history of nothing. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the things that you did in your past, can I agree? Can I flow with that? And yeah, sometimes if you have a past and you have appropriately dealt with it, you got the therapy that you needed, so on and so forth, or whatever the case may be, and I see the results of it, then maybe I might do that. But I'm just telling you, when you have things that you have done in your past, it's going to be a lot of women, beautiful women, that have jumped on fans only pages, that have done pornography and things of that nature. And like it or not, it's going to bite them. So you got to do your homework on people, because I'm telling you right now, it's not right. It's not right. But I'm telling you that because child support is a thing, and because child support, it will get you caught up, fellas, you need to move strategically. And I know young brothers that you got a high sex drive and you get horny. I understand you do. And I understand that you want to release, but you got to make sure the neighborhood is safe before you buy a house. You got to make sure you check the reports. What's the crime rate? What's the schools like for your children that you have or will have? What are the neighbors like? You just got to look around you, because there aren't going to be any laws anytime soon, especially for people like me, that's going to protect Black men. And our women are used to hurt us. It's not our women's fault. But you can't blame a woman for accessing what's available to her. Even if she's not thinking clearly, this is going to hurt my Black man. She's thinking about the moment, what's best for her. My child's mother wasn't thinking about my well-being. She wasn't thinking about my family. She wasn't thinking about my wife and my kids. She wasn't thinking about the challenges and the difficulties that the things that she was doing to me was causing me. She wasn't thinking about that. All she was thinking about herself. And she tried to do it herself. She tried to erase me from the picture. And do it herself. Run my name through the mud. He ain't this, he ain't that. Instead of just keeping my name out of her mouth. Then when her plan did not work, when her hustle didn't work, what did that lead her? What did that leave her? It left her with nothing. She don't have a career. She's not anybody's wife. Her children are not in the situations that she desires. The way her children feel or will feel about her, every narrative about her at some point in time, everything that she's done in her life is going to it's catching up with her. If she hears my voice right now, it has caught up with her. And I ain't wishing nothing on her. But she preyed on, like a lot of women do that are wayward, prey on men that when things don't turn out exactly the way they want them to, they will take that man to the woodshed and make his life holy heck. And it's unfortunate when a human being wakes up in the morning and they expend energy at any point in time in making things tough for someone else in life, because things didn't turn out the way that they wanted to. Now, see, for me, I gave my child's mother every opportunity to be with me, to build with me, to love, to honor, to cherish, to do all of those things with each other. And time again, this person showed no love, no care, no consideration. This person sabotaged my character, defamed me at every turn, and did not give a tinker's about how it affected me and how it affected our child. Not one thought was given that the better I am, the better I could be for our child. The more money I made, the more money she could have gotten. The history that I've shown of taking on the responsibilities that weren't even mine, and the history that surrounded me, the type of people that were around me, the results that I was producing, it was all there to say that I was a sound investment. But it was better to create a new narrative about me. And this is what you go through, fellas, when you link up with the wrong kind of person. There are people out there that need healing that haven't been healed. And if another red flag is if somebody is very secretive, just like leave them alone. Because somebody who's flowing the way they're supposed to flow, they don't have really no secrets. So what is your mother like? I want to talk about my mother. So what's your daddy like? Don't want to talk about my daddy. So, who are your friends? What are you talking to my friends for? What do you want to talk to my friends for? That's somebody that you just got to leave. Leave them alone. You know why? You may be wrong about them. But boy, you don't want to be right about them and be involved with them. Okay, so that's my time. I never know. Listen, I never know where I'm going with these conversations. I come into the conversations and I say, hey, look, I want to talk about this. And then my mind moves frantically, and I just like to let things flow. So that bothers you and everything like that, please forgive me, but this might not be the channel for you. All right. Because, and maybe in the future I'll get better, but I don't want to be so polished that I'm not telling you the reality of situations and how they happen. So make sure that you like this channel. Like this video, comment on this video, talk to me nice, share this video, and then also subscribe. And then my information and the details, if you have questions that you want to email me, or if you want to book me, then go ahead and hit me at thoughtofleandre@gmail.com. All right, take care.